Hi everyone, I wanted to give you a brief video that discusses Unit 1, the rhetorical analysis. This particular essay will be done over a 2-week period. You'll have a first draft and a final draft, and it will focus on the discipline of cultural studies. And if you click on Unit 1, it'll come up to 3 folders. You've got reading assignments. Please read through all of those thoroughly so that you have a general understanding of what this type of essay is like. Helpful resources. If you click on this, there will be a footloose speech in here because basically this essay is going to be an analysis of a movie speech that you're going to choose. And I provided a sample in this helpful resources folder. It's of a speech given in the movie Footloose. Excuse me. And there's also a sample rhetorical analysis essay written about that speech. Now, no student should write on the Footloose speech. So it just serves as an example. But if you look in here, there's that example of the speech, so you can watch it, and then you can look at the student sample written about that speech and get a good idea of what this is supposed to be about. So if you click on writing assignments, you've got your due dates here. You'll have a full first draft that will be due this Sunday. I will provide feedback and give you a grade. You have to wait on that feedback and your grade in order to revise and submit a final draft the following week, which would be February 28th. This explains what a rhetorical analysis is and what it means to write in the field of cultural studies. And the assignments are listed here. This is the first assignment. You click here and you've got the movie speech analysis rubric, or it's your checklist that you can look at when you finish the paper, and make sure that you've done everything you need to do before you submit your first draft so you can get the best grade possible. And here are the essay instructions. I've already got them pulled up here. This essay will examine the effectiveness of a popular movie or historical speech. Okay. The link right here, called the American Rhetoric website, is a database of movie speeches. There are tons in this link. So you'll find your source, which is the speech that you choose, the one you want to write about. You'll find it in this link. No other links should you be looking at, only this link. Click on it, and then you can browse, or you can type in specific searches if you know of one that you would like to do. But there are tons in there. But it could be a movie speech or it could be a historical speech. The length is 2 to 3 pages, so at least 2 full pages. And then your third page would be a works cited. The only source you will use is a speech. And I've showed you on the next page how to cite the speech. Students will need to cite the source both on the works cited page and that same source within your essay. Typically, when you only have one source that you're working with and writing an essay, you don't have to cite it. But for the purpose of this class and for you guys getting into the swing of creating a works cited page and also citing sources, I want you to make sure that you list the source on a works cited page and you cite that source within the essay when you use examples from the speech to support your points. And the organization. The introduction paragraph should start out with an attention grabber. Then connect that to the next sentence. Summarize the speech. What's happening in the movie at this particular time that the speech is given? You want to give the context of the speech. And you want the last sentence of your introduction to be your thesis statement, which should assert whether or not the speech is effective and why or how it relates to contemporary American culture, even in today's time. Then you should have 3 body paragraphs. It says you will use at least 2 out of 3 rhetorical appeals in your body paragraphs to analyze your speech: logos, ethos, or pathos. If you look in the reading assignments, there is a link that shows you what these 3 appeals are, and it will explain those appeals in detail. But basically, Aristotle created them years and years and years and years ago as three different persuasive techniques that people use to convince others. And a lot of times they are used in the movie speeches. So you will need to choose two of the three, or you can use all three if your speech has those in there. Use the link in Blackboard that explains these three appeals. And then an additional paragraph could discuss another persuasive technique used by the speaker to appeal to his or her audience, like using repetition, or the setting of the speech might be very important, and you would explain why. If the speech you chose has all three appeals, you can certainly write about all three appeals. To develop and support your points, you will need to use specific evidence in the form of examples and short quotes from your speech. Use and cite all quotes. And then don't forget to have a separate conclusion. You want to look at this as a 5-paragraph essay with your introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and your conclusion. And then on the last page here, some rules for writing. Just make sure you do not use contractions, no first person. Make sure this is MLA formatted. See the video in Blackboard that shows you how to format an essay in MLA format. It's very important. You don't want point deductions for not doing this. Proofread and edit for grammar errors. Document and cite the one source, which is your speech source, on a works cited page and within the essay. And if you actually go to the sample that's provided in the helpful resources folder in this unit, it will show you a works cited page, and it will also show you the citations within the essay. See how to cite American rhetoric source below. So I've put an example of how your American rhetoric website speech should be cited, because everybody's going to have a lot of the same information in a works cited sample just because it's coming from the same website. Everybody is pulling their speeches from the same website. So this is just an example, but you should have works cited centered at the top of that last page. And then everybody's should begin with Ed Muller, comma, Michael E. Everybody's should begin with this because this is the person that compiles all of the speeches. So he is the compiler, so he would come first here. And then you've got the name of your speech should look just like this. You just want to take out like Legally Blonde, unless you're doing Legally Blonde, and you can definitely keep this. But you take out what is not a part of your speech and plug in your speech information, along with the year that your speech came out, and then the complete link to your speech. So you have to make sure you change this sample to adapt to your speech. But really, this part right here, Ed Muller, Michael, does not change. It should be the same for everybody. And then when you cite this source within your essay, it's just going to look like this up here where it says Ed Muller in the parentheses with the period at the end. So this explains the citations. It's really easy to do. Please read back over this and look at this example. And then here are just a few of the most popular movie or historical speeches that students have written about before. Again, do not write on the Footloose speech, since I used that as an example and provided a sample essay on it in the helpful resources folder. But here are at least, let's see how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16 different possible speeches that you could choose from. Now remember, you're not analyzing the whole movie. You're only analyzing the speech given by a particular character within the movie or by historical figure. So if you have questions about this essay specifically, please don't hesitate to email me, but also please be sure to look at all resources, read through all resources, and follow all directions. Thank you. And if you have any questions, like I said, feel free to email me.